Me and my best friend Samantha have been friends for as long as I can remember. If you ask me, I'll say we were friends before we were even born. My mother tells me it's impossible that we were friends before our creation, but I don't agree with her. Me and Samantha do everything together, you hardly ever see one without the other. Samantha has lots of wonderful qualities, wonderful things about her. She's not afraid to try anything, and she's always following her dreams. I admire that about her. I admire her. She's my best friend. But there's one thing that I can't help, it drives me crazy. Samantha will start a hobby. For example, a few summers back she started collecting leaves, but she knew why. She has so many of them, big ones, small ones, and ones with holes, and so many different colors. She went and got the albums and placed each leaf in a different spot. She even arranged them from the smallest to the biggest, and the lightest in the darkest. Shortly after buying the albums, I saw Samantha throwing all the leaves away. I ran up and said, "Hey, what are you doing? Why you throwing your leaves away?" Samantha turned around a little bit startled. "Oh, hi Amy, I didn't see you there. I don't need them anymore." "But Samantha, you've been collecting them for months now, and you have a real good collection of them, so what's the sudden change?" "Well, Amy, you see, once I bought the photo albums and arranged all the leaves, I realized the albums can be used for a lot more. And I've always had a dream of being a photographer, so that's what I'm going to do. My new hobby is taking pictures, making them beautiful, and put them in my album. And hopefully I get so good at one day I'll get hired, maybe even in Hollywood." Oh, wanted to be a great Amy. Yes, Samantha, yes, that would be wonderful. You sure do have a lot of inspiration. And you have a lot of determination, I can tell by the way you're talking. I think this is it because it's the one. Amy, what do you mean? What do you mean you think this is it? This is the one. Well, I really don't want to say it. You know you are my best friend, right? Yes, Amy, but what does that have to do with this? You have had so many different hobbies. I think maybe your hobby was changing hobbies. Thankfully, Samantha thought that's funny too. We both sat there and laughed for a while, and she said, "Yeah, you're right, Amy, I sure do change a lot of hobbies. If you know why, because there's so many wonderful things, there's so many things I want to do that I just can't make up my mind." Well, you do know that we're only 12, we still have a long time to figure out what we're going to do when we get older. Not really, Amy, you think about it. We're 12, that's only 8 years until we're 18. Once we're 18 we are on our own, living our life, following our dreams. Look at this way, say we do your hobbies for 6 months, that's 2 hobbies a year. There's 8 years left, and if we do 2 a year, that's only 16 hobbies. How am I ever going to do everything and figure out which one is the one on one of the career? I don't know, Samantha, why don't you put them all together? I don't understand what you mean. I mean, you've had so many hobbies, you have so many different still. To me that means you're open-minded, you're determined, and you have willingness, leadership. Why don't you be a manager? Or open a kids' summer camp and have all your hobbies as stations? Amy, I never thought about that. That would be wonderful. And you give me my partner, you can help me plan all the events and decorate the camps. All this would be so great, me and you going to a partnership. Just thinking me and you to be together every day like we are now. Oh wow, it's a wonderful, I can't wait to start. Samantha, are you forgetting something? No, I don't think so, am I? You know that my dream is to travel around the world providing education to the children who do not get proper education. Oh yeah, I remember you saying something about that, but I didn't think you were for real. I thought you were just talking rambly on like you normally do. I ain't even realized that you're actually serious. Yeah, I know, Samantha, that's the way it's always been. Well, that's supposed to mean? Well, everything you do, everything you want, everything you dream of, I support you and I stand by you. Yeah, I know, that's what best friends do. You're right, they do, but I think you're forgetting that I'm your best friend too, and it would be nice every once in a while you support me in my hobbies instead of me always supporting you. Oh Amy, that is so childish, you know I support you. I tell you how wonderful the hobby that would be, how you should go for it, maybe it'll work. Samantha, you just don't get it. But that's okay, I think it's really have 8 years left. I should go pursue my dreams and hobbies while you go to yours on your own. You can feel the tension, and you can cut it with a knife. Fine, that's fine, Amy. I don't need you anyways, you're just holding me back from mine. I am going to be a photographer, I am going to be in Hollywood. Hope you make it at least to the local supermarket. Right, that is the response I knew I would get. Have a good life, Samantha. Oh, and a little word of advice, get yourself a big old notepad and pen. Why would I want that? I'm going to be a photographer, I need a camera. No, I meant so you can write down all your hobbies, you keep track of them. So when somebody asks you what your hobbies are, you can tell them your hobbies are writing down hobbies, 'cause you never fulfill any of your hobbies. You've had at least 20 in the last 2 years. Me myself have had 2, and one I'm still doing. Well, we shall see in 8 years, who following their hobby and dream. Good luck, Amy, good looks, Samantha. The time went by pretty quickly for both of them girls. They both are actively following their hobbies. Only seen each other through a passing by, both throwing glares at each other, and not one word spoken. Before we knew it, 7 years have gone by. Last year high school, both were on the way to graduate and start their careers. Amy had slightly changed her hobby, from teaching reading and writing, to being a journalist/writer herself. And Samantha was still doing her photography. Last year high school came around, and by chance or by faith the girls ended up in the same room in school. After nearly 7 years of not talking each other, they both forgot to spend the last year in high school in their room together. At first it was still very awkward, it would hardly talk and just glare at each other. Until the teacher put them together for a project. The teacher wanted all the students in class to combine their hobby with somebody else's, and to see if it comes out to be something better together, or by themselves. Neither of the girls knew what the other one's hobby consisted of. But once they found out, anything fall back in place, like the 7 years did not just pass them. Samantha was doing her photography, of course, but it was of Amy. She had thousands and thousands of beautiful pictures of Amy and her everyday life. And Amy had written countless notebooks full of everything Samantha was doing. It just so happened Amy has something written for every single picture that Samantha had taken. Want to see both realize what the other one had? They just paused, smiled at each other, and gave the biggest embrace ever. There it was, Amy and Samantha, the two amigos back together, irreplaceable, going to be separated. Once they realize what the other one has been doing, they talk for hours and hours and hours, then they came out with a plan. They went to buy their hobby and open the business for themselves. Anyone call it hobby shabby or hobby jumpy. But finally they settled on capture memories. The girls are not sure how it's going to go, but they each put every single penny they saved into opening their business. They both have a lot to learn. They both had go to college for business and whatever else they needed. About 4 years later, when he graduated college, they opened their business. And today, 15 years later, it is the most popular and earning the most money out of any other business in their small town, Johnsonville, Tennessee.